To try to control the mind without providing any means of greater happiness is a bad technique to control. It's a bad manner to control. It's no way to control, and it cannot be controlled. No. The best means is just provide him with something that will satisfy, and once it is satisfied, it's yours. You feed the dog on the door and feed him for some time, it doesn't leave the door. Even if you beat, then it doesn't leave the door. If mind is to be controlled, just lead it to bliss, and it is controlled already. I am out with a technique to satisfy the mind and not controlling the mind. We lead the mind inward, and to lead the mind inward is very natural. The mind is already tired of all things outside, already too tired. It's already too tired to remain anywhere fixed up in the outside world, and just a little turn of inward, and then the inner glory fascinates the mind. And because the field is glorious, the mind goes that way only. Not only goes, it rushes on and gets on to that. We are hearing to some melody, and better melody comes from a different source. Immediately the mind gets on to that. It's not necessary to train the mind to enjoy a greater melody, or it doesn't take long time. No long time, no strenuous practice, no training is necessary for the mind to enjoy more, because it is already dying to enjoy more. Just a turn, inward turn, and the mind goes happy. When you proceed towards the light, at every step the light increases. When you lead the mind towards the eternal bliss, at every step happiness increases, and that increased happiness is a natural charm to the mind. It enchants the mind, and the mind goes that way. Therefore, anybody who says practice of meditation is difficult and inward drawn is very difficult and kingdom of heaven is difficult and many lives and this, it's all foolish, all on the platform of ignorance, not knowing the nature of the mind. The nature of the mind is not wandering, the nature of the mind is settled, because another argument, had wandering been the nature of the mind, then the mind would feel happier and pleased if it is allowed to wander more and more. Anything done in accordance with the nature pleases a man. If wandering had been the nature of the mind, then it would feel happier and more happy when it is allowed to wander more and more. But we find when the mind is allowed to wander more and more, when it doesn't get anything pleasant to sit on, to enjoy, then it feels miserable, unhappy, discontented. When the mind doesn't get any proper seat to sit, when the mind doesn't get any medium of joy, then it wanders from place to place, and wandering makes him miserable. And this concludes that wandering is not the nature of the mind. Settling down is the nature of the mind. Remaining settled is the nature of the mind. Calm, peace is the nature of the mind. Mind will be calm and peaceful only if it is settled in bliss. Nothing less than 100% bliss will satisfy the mind. It will always be searching. All the present systems of meditation which are prevalent in the air, all the systems of controlling the mind, they try to refine the mind. Now look here. The method to refine the mind, I classify them into two systems. Subjective refinement, that is, you refine the mind. I give one analogy. There is a house, and a very bad house in very bad condition, downtrodden and all rough and dirty and dull. There are two ways to enter the house. One way is renovate the house, make polished and nice and attractive and beautiful, so that when you reach it, you feel to enter it. This I call objective glorification. You glorify the object so that you feel for it and you have it. Objective glorification. Other method is subjective refinement. You refine your mind, and what do? Go to the house and feel the dirt of it and come back and go again and be repelled and go again and experience the filth of it and come back. Let the mind be used to it, dirty and obnoxious, and come back again and dirty and come back, so that the dirt becomes the nature of the mind, and someday you ignore it and enter the house. This is subjective refinement. That is, you make your mind used to the medium. Make the mind used to the medium, whatever it is. This is unpleasant in the beginning, and then when the dirt becomes the nature of the mind, it enters it. All the present day practices prevalent in the air for training the mind are just like that. You attach the mind, somewhere you put the mind here, you put the mind here, you put the mind somewhere, and then the mind repels, and again you push the mind, and then again it comes back. It comes back because it doesn't find any positive charm there. Not finding any positive charm, it is repelled, and natural it is for it to be repelled. It again, you put him and it comes back, put him and comes back. Poor fellow is just pushing and pushing. All this process becomes tedious. When it becomes tedious, it takes away life and gives nothing. And then when it is tedious, people say it is difficult to control the mind, it is difficult, and the path to God is difficult. As if anybody who says the path to God is difficult and then you can't have it unless you are persistently trained for it, they only presume that the glory of the outside world is greater and the glory of God is much less, so the mind doesn't want to go to the lesser glory and wants to remain in the greater glory. See, the whole principle is wrong. Outside world is not so enchanting, it has no capacity of fascinating the mind because the mind is already tired. Nothing of the outside world is able to satisfy. This is the everyday experience. Inside lies the great glory. But the method of approach to that glory is wrong. You're facing this side and enjoying the drops. This side is the great pond. Unless you just right about turn, it's not possible to get onto the water and be fascinated towards this side. What you do is turn 30 degrees, and 30 degrees also the same misery, and then again 60 degrees is also the same misery, and then even 80 degrees is also the same misery. The glory lies in such turning right about 180 degrees. 180 degrees, immediately turn and you are there. And if you begin to turn gradually 10 degrees and 90 degrees and 100 degrees and 130 degrees, all this turning amounts to greater misery. If not greater, then misery is equal. This side equals misery, drops. This side also drops. You don't find anything more than the drop. The mind was going from drop to drop, and here also going from drop to drop, because nothing. The pond is just 180 degrees. Gross outside world, the finer inner nature. So just adjust this side. It should be instantaneous. I hear in these parts Zen is much talked about, and they speak of instantaneous enlightenment. But so unfortunately there is no Zen master today who could give instantaneous enlightenment. The theory is all right. Theory is all right, that the bliss is omnipresent, it is already there, and I am that and thou art that, and why not have it straight away? but there should be a way. Mind needs to be refined, and the mind will be refined because the mind is experiencing the gross in order to be able to experience the subtle. In order to be able to experience the transcendent, the mind should be able to experience all the subtler stages, and then it experiences that. So, just turn about and begin to experience the subtler phases of the medium, a positive medium, and begin to experience the subtler phases of the medium, and experiencing the subtlest, you come on to experience the transcendent straight away. So, almost all the practices of meditation belonging to all groups and all religions today, they try to turn by degrees, and the mind is not satisfied. And when the mind is not satisfied, the intelligent man thinks it's a waste of time, and why bother?